Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Brian, and today's topic is something that's near and dear to my heart. I have a special guest with me, my wife, Jessica, and today's topic is actually about parents with special needs. And I feel that this is a very good topic to talk about, mainly because both me and her, we've been through a lot together. We have a very, very beautiful daughter named Candace. She's 11 years old. Right now, she was born with DiGeorge syndrome, which is AKA 22q deletion, which for layman's terms is the 22nd chromosome and the human body that is somewhat deleted in a sense or missing. It's kind of how, several doctors and geneticists over the years have told us kind of how the terminology or the layman terms of what they called us to say. With that being said, I asked my wife before the video if she wanted to go first, and she kind of smiled and was like, I don't know, this is my show. So I will speak about how Candace has influenced me. I will kind of divulge in how we found out. It was something very, very serious for us. When she was born, perfectly fine, healthy. We did have a low concern in gestation. Sorry if I said that wrong, but we did have a doctor look at my wife at the time, kind of figure out, the doctor seemed something kind of weird with the heart at the time. And we went to a doctor, and for some reason the doctor could not see something, or he said everything was fine. Whatever the case may be, I feel like he probably just didn't do his job the way he was supposed to do his job. Well, in that instance, 3 days after birth, Candace started turning blue and could not breathe. So they had to incubator and put her in ICU. And we were taken straight to one of the best children's hospitals in the nation, Texas Children's. And we were surprised about everything else that we found out about Candace at the time. We did not know everything that life was going to take us on a new journey with her when we found out. So fast forward a little bit, 2 weeks, she had a heart surgery to fix a missing aorta arch that she never had. Was not there. They took tissue from the other parts of her body to create an aorta arch. And the doctor that worked on her was the best neonatal surgeon at the time. And if anything, if I could see him again, I'd give him a big hug because he literally saved our daughter's life. I could still, to this day, cannot thank him enough for that. It's something that has always weighed on my heart, that without this man and his team working together, it was the longest and most excruciating and the most painful day of my life. To this day, honestly, like nothing else has compared to what has happened on that day of Candace's surgery. That was the most stressful day I've ever witnessed in my life. I'm pretty sure you agree that was something that was just, oof.
Yeah.
It was tear-jerking, and just we just couldn't. It was hard. There was a lot of feelings from both of our sides of our parents that just a lot of things were said that shouldn't have been said, and just a very emotional day. She came out of surgery a lot later than normal. The doctors said that she was a little bit more bleeding, found out that she actually has a bleeding disorder that actually came from me because I don't clot well. So she's actually kind of picked that up from my side of the genetics. But other than that, Candace has grown through speech therapies, from occupational therapy through physical therapy, and all kinds of other things that has been a great journey for her to continue. And she will continue for the rest of her life. This is actually going to be more of a two-part series. Part one is to talk about us parents, and I'm actually going to have Candace on the next video to talk about her experiences and how she feels sometimes, and how she feels in school, or she feel any different in school, and different questions I'm going to ask her to kind of give her a simplification, because even though she's 11 years old, her mind and her inside is kind of more still like a 5-year-old. She's still a little child inside, and even though she's kind of a preteen, and still trying to develop and everything like that. But her emotions are still kind of on par with one of the younger kids anywhere else out in the world, like a 5-year-old kindergartner still. But that still kind of goes along with her, DiGeorge syndrome. It's kind of a wide scope. Anything and everything can still happen with her. We can still experience another heart surgery later on in life if the aorta arch still has not developed correctly, or it didn't grow with the body correctly, or her veins and her valves that were missing in her heart didn't grow correctly and stuff like that. It's something, doctor's visits and, continuingly things like that emotionally are draining. And, I know there are parents out there that feel us on this. And that's kind of why I wanted my wife here, so she can give you her perspective on how she felt. But first, I'm going to give you mine personally, because I grew up as like being the strong-willed dad. It was a little different for me because I had to hold a lot of it in. I had to be the rock for her and to be her foundation. And if it wasn't for that, I feel that she wouldn't be able to sustain a lot of the emotional trauma that happened during that time. It's still a lot, even at times when I would come home and see Candace just doing her therapy. I was just like, man, poor child. I would just sometimes just cry in my bathroom because I was just so worried about her and her development, and just trying to manage through everything that was dealing with her, because Candace just had so much all the time. My wife, she could barely work at times because we just had so many doctor's appointments at times that she just couldn't keep a job down, because they just didn't like the fact that we had so many appointments when she was younger. So many appointments, and then later on finding out she had, eye problems. One of her eyes were kind of just not staying still. And, we had surgery on that, and come to find out she might have to have it again. Even with the glasses that we got for her, she just refuses to hold them on. And it's hard. It's one thing to have a kid and give them glasses, and it's another thing to make them have the glasses and keep them on. Or break the glasses. That's the struggle as well. And I've even tried to think about goggles, but then I just don't want Candace to feel any more different from the outside than more. I want her to feel more included with her friends. She tries her best, but I as a father, I try my best to try to help Candace as much as possible. Just really just feel more included with her siblings and with everybody else around her as much as possible, even with the neighbors and everything like that. So without further ado, I'll have my wife take over and kind of give a glimpse of what it was like for her on her side.
So kind of like what Brian said, we were going to be discharged on day 3, but on day 2, I noticed that Candace was not eating well or whatnot, and so the nurses in the NICU did a wonderful job and kind of took her back and kept an eye on her. Day 3 is when she started turning blue. We went up and got the cardiogram or test done for her heart. And at that time, my mom was in the room with me, and the nurse said, "Hang on, I'll be right back." And she called down to Texas Children's, and she said, "I don't like what I'm seeing. Can you get on and kind of look at what I'm seeing?" And then that's when the cardiologist said, "Send her back, get her intubated, and send her down. She needs to be sent down." On the way down, I was in the ambulance in the front. And I guess she had crashed on the way down to Texas Children's, but I didn't find that out until later on when reading her medical records, because they just said it was a incubator problem. It wasn't keeping her warm, and so the driver went back to go fix it, but it actually was she had crashed on the way down to Texas Children's. At 2 weeks old, she had the open heart surgery, to have the aortic arch interruption repaired along with the ASD, VSD that she had. She gets monitored yearly by cardiology. The cardiologist that she sees here at Vanderbilt is actually pleased at how she's doing because most children he sees, they have already had to have 2 or 3 open heart surgeries, and she's only had to have the one. She's also had tympanoplasty for her ears. Her tubes aren't designed the same as ours, so she gets a lot more ear infections. She's had the eye surgery, as Brian talked about it, for the strabismus. She's had a palate surgery to close the soft palate that was open. And whatnot. I do want to say thanks to Dr. Hankins at St. Luke's, Texas Children's. Because if it wasn't for him, Candace would probably have a G-tube. At that time, my mom was working at St. Luke's, the Woodlands, part of the Texas Children's NICU. So she would always keep in contact with Dr. Hankins, who and Dr. Reed, who would keep in contact with the doctors downtown. Downtown wanted to put her on a G-tube, but Dr. Hankins and Dr. Reed said, no, when she gets to that stage, send her back and we'll work on feeding growing. So she was down at Texas Children's downtown, I would say, for a month. And then she came back and was released on my mom's birthday, which was April 2nd, after being back at the Woodlands for feeding growing. Candace had to have the helmet for the flathead because she was laying on her back for so long that she got the flathead. But they have made leaps and bounds with those helmets. They all come in different colors and whatnot. She had to have the orthotic little shoes, the AFOs, to help with her walking and her balance. She received speech, OT, PT, and feeding quite often when she was younger. She had OT up until last year, where she was able to graduate from OT. She does still get checked in by the OT here at her school. She receives speech therapy twice a week at the school, and then she sometimes receives it out of school once a week. And she still is making leaps and bounds, but it's still sometimes hard for her. I would say, though, with being in the county we are in, which is Williamson County, they do an excellent job with giving her the services she needs, and trying their best to keep her included as much. She does not like to be known that she's different. She will fight that tooth and nail.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She wants to be like everybody else. She is my daredevil. At times I have to tell her, Candace, you have to watch it because your heart, you're special,
Yep.
But she's my go-getter. She, like I said, is the daredevil. But it has been challenging and whatnot. As a mom of a special needs child, it does cause, some riffraffs, because other parents that don't have kids with special needs, they think, oh, well, what are you doing? Like, she's not speaking right. Well, she has a disability, and a lot of things come up underneath with it. But like Brian said, if it wasn't for that heart surgeon down at Texas Children's, Candace probably would have had 2 or 3 or more surgeries. Candace is one of the very most sweet, outgoing girls.
Yes.
She wants to include everybody. She wants everybody to be her friend. She tries to act like her peers, but sometimes she doesn't understand what she might say is not what kids like. She also is still working on her bubble space, as we call it.
Yep.
She likes to be all up in people's bubble space. Kids her age now really want more of that bubble space instead of everybody in their bubble space. But I think it has helped a lot having a special needs child, because then when I see other parents with special needs children, I'm like, oh, I know how it is, you know. I get it, you know. I might not understand their child, what they have, but I do know somewhat of the walk of a special needs child. And it has helped a lot, especially in what I do on a day-to-day basis when I might deal with kids with special needs that I encounter on my bus. It has helped. I had a parent last year tell me she was surprised how well I could handle it, and that her children actually looked forward to going to school and getting on the bus because they felt included and was not picked on or whatnot. I always tell Candace, you know, don't let the words people say bother you, because of the fact that they are dealing with something themselves on the inside if they want to name, call, or pick on you. But there's many, they're doing more research with DeGeorge. Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania does more and more research. They do a conference each year where they invite families with children with DeGeorge or 22q11 deletion to come together and learn different things that they have found out. Let the kids kind of get together, learn different things. So the more they do research, the more they find out, and the more things that we will learn along the way. At first, when we first heard about it, it was very uncommon to hear about DeGeorge. You didn't hear many about it. But now I know a couple of people that their children have DeGeorge, and so it's been kind of neat to talk to them and figure out what they deal with compared to with what we deal with. There is the very severe case of DeGeorge and the very mild. I would say Candace is probably in the middle, and we're lucky. But that doesn't mean that we're not out of the woods.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know what else.
That's okay.
Besides the fact that, you know, when you meet Candace, you'll see her heart and whatnot.
Yeah, Candace has such a loving heart, and you'll notice that first off when you see her in the next video they have. It's part 1 of part 2, or 1 of 2 again. And so I thank you for sharing that, honey. It's different. People have different perspectives, and that's kind of the point of this video too, is to kind of big more awareness of parents with children of special needs. You know, there's so much of a stigma with that, along with different things in life, you know. And I really, really, really want everyone to come together and share your experience with me. Share with the community. Follow me at NIMREZ on Twitter and Instagram. Give me your feedback. Share with me what you experienced in life, and we can bring a community of parents together that can lean on each other and really kind of give a good openness to all kinds of special needs out there. There's not just one. There's so many kids out there, so many spectrums of everything else that I would love for everyone to do that. So
I would also say, if you're a parent of special needs, don't feel down. you will have dark days, but there are light days at the end of the tunnel. Reach out to people. Reach out to other families that you might think have children with special needs. It doesn't matter if they have the same special needs as your child or whatnot, but it's that community of knowing you have the support.
Absolutely. I agree, baby. I agree. I agree a lot. I mean, honestly, that's kind of, exactly to my point to this video, is to kind of really bring everyone together as a community and really help each other. You can do that. You can also subscribe to this channel, share this video as well. Like, really kind of just bring the awareness out so that we can together be more of a unity for everyone. I know this channel is going to be a lot of different things, but one of the things I do stand by is parents with disability. That's one of the things I strongly stand by, and I'm sure my wife does as well. So, and she'll be more in my videos as well, because there's a couple other things that she'll want to talk on. But other than that, I hope y'all have a blessed morning, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.